Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Thank you so much for joining this webinar, which will be on using Microsoft 365 to create a positive employee experience. If everyone just wants to get settled in while we wait for a few others to join, and then I'll introduce our speakers and walk us through the agenda for today. Before we get started, I want to go through a little bit of housekeeping. So, on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the QA section where you can submit questions to us so that we can address them either at the end or in the follow-ups. Okay, should we introduce ourselves? I'm Georgie and I'm an account executive here at Clarkswell. And then we have Salvo here with us, who is our head of consultancy, and Ali, an account executive who will be taking you through the webinar today. So what kind of company is Clarkswell? We're an award-winning digital agency based in London who specialise in Microsoft technology and are an established Microsoft Gold partner. We are also experts in .NET web developments using Sitecore and Umbraco platforms to create dynamic, user-centred websites. We offer hosting on the Azure cloud and, of course, internal communication platforms and document management services within Microsoft 365 itself. So why are we doing this webinar? Well, many organisations have found themselves in a hybrid world with little idea how to navigate it. Since we're experts in using the Microsoft stack, we wanted to share ways of using it to improve your employee experience and productivity and offer the latest and best advice to your clients. So I'm going to run through the agenda for the day. We're going to start off with the basics around employee experience and some human strategies to implement to improve it. And then we're going to go a bit more tech heavy and focus on how we're using Microsoft 365 to optimize employee experience. We're going to look at Power Platform and Viva, and then we're going to discuss something that we've been working on called the new World of Work features. I'm going to hand over to Ali to kick us off.
Great, thanks, Georgie. Right, hi everyone. So employee experience is a term that is becoming more and more prevalent in the working world. Companies are beginning to recognise the importance of understanding their employees' needs and ensuring their well-being. COVID-19 has highlighted the need for a good digital EX strategy to create a successful hybrid working environment and make up for the loss of physical employee touchpoints, such as coffee mornings and other work socialising events. The benefits of a positive employee experience are many. The feeling of belonging within a team, understanding their purpose in the organisation, and being generally happy at work have been shown to increase productivity, enthusiasm, and sense of achievement within a workforce. So, how can you forefront your employees' welfare? Before we get into how you can use technology to optimize employee experience, we need to understand how to optimize EX without it. This is because your digital workplace can only go as far as your underlying company culture allows. We've been to various conferences and online discussions surrounding positive EX and have collated a list of strategies that can enhance collaboration and provide support outside of technical expertise so that you don't have to. These strategies include no meetings Fridays. These allow your employees time to wind down and tie up any loose ends that have built up over the week. This also encourages a day for collaboration and innovation within your team without having to schedule around external meetings. Next is wellness content. Supplying your workforce with wellness content reassures them that they can approach other employees when they're having a difficult time, which is often a hard thing to do. This content can include anything from fitness advice, yoga retreat adverts, or where they can go to access counselling and medical help. You could even go one step further and introduce counselling sessions and digital doctors to your company. Next on our list of strategies is wellness days. This is quite a formal term for what is essentially a day outside of the office, focused on team building, support, and most importantly, having fun. You can hold these days quarterly or even monthly and encourage as many people as possible to get involved, and you'll be amazed at how well they can lift morale. Finally, you can try integrating a buddy system. This works especially well if you take on recent graduates or entry-level employees regularly, but can be beneficial for any level. This one-on-one mentorship not only provides support and guidance for the entry-level employee, but also affirms the value of the buddy who's assigned to them, rewarding them for their experience. Now that we've understood the basics of employee experience and some strategies to implement it outside of technology, we can get into the details of how you can use Microsoft 365 to optimize EX. So let's start with Teams. We think the first and most crucial step towards organization-wide collaboration is fully integrating Microsoft Teams and using the application to its full potential. Teams is a very useful tool when used correctly, so here's how you can get the most out of it. Firstly, you can create informal Teams chats as well as creating more formal groups for a project. The advantage of this is that the group can store important files and documents, and then the chat can serve as a way to ask questions, discuss new ideas, and work on files together. Secondly, make sure you integrate your Microsoft Teams app with your SharePoint-based intranet. The benefits of having your communication tool and your modern workplace intertwined are that everything is more connected, files are easier to find, and the company feels more unified. In addition to this advice, Microsoft are introducing new enhancements to the Teams platform. The first one of these is AI-enabled cameras. There are 3 unique technologies that power this new type of intelligent camera. The first is AI-powered active speaker tracking, enabling in-room cameras to use audio, facial movements, and gestures to detect who in the room is speaking. The next is multiple video streams that allow in-room participants to be placed on their own video pane. And the third is people recognition, which will identify and display people's names within their video pane. Another new feature is Mesh for Microsoft Teams. This introduces a new generation of 2D and 3D meetings. How you project yourself in an immersive space really matters, and you can customize your avatar and use AI to imitate movements and gestures that enable you to bring your physical presence into the conversation, even when your camera is off. Organizations will also be able to create immersive spaces that resemble physical spaces, like conference rooms, design centers, and networking lounges, which sparks creativity and fosters greater connections between employees. The next platform we're going to talk about is SharePoint. Once your Teams is set up, you can look towards your modern workplace. Most people view SharePoint as the document management center for their organization. This is great for collaboration since Microsoft has introduced version control where you can track changes and collaborate on documents. But this isn't where the functionality of SharePoint ends. SharePoint can be used as the social hub of your company. Try advertising group activities on the SharePoint homepage or creating an internal news section which celebrates individual and team successes, however big or small. There are many underutilized features in SharePoint that encourage collaboration and idea generation, such as the ability to award badges and praise to colleagues, the creation of individual innovation portals, online video conferences, and business process automation through Microsoft Power Platform. I'm now going to hand over to Salvo to talk to you a bit more about Power Platform.
Okay, thank you, Ali. Okay, so we've talked about employee experience, why it's important. And as Ali explained, it's not really about technology. It's all about creating a fun, productive and safe environment for your employees to work in. And much of that, of course, that's nothing to do with digital tools. But making good use of Teams and SharePoint certainly helps. And another set of tools in Microsoft 365 that can help a lot is the Power Platform. Now, the Power Platform, which hopefully you will have heard of, it is an environment, a platform for building apps and other things using low or no code. So you can build apps for various business processes, for example, a very custom bespoke approval workflow or implementing some sort of mandatory reads policy for compliance. But it can also be used to build lots of little employee experience orientated things. These are the kind of applications that you might like to do, but are difficult to get off the ground if you have to go through a regular IT approval and development process. It's all quite onerous. But the whole point of the Power Platform is you can just do it yourself. It's intended for what are called citizen developers, who are just regular employees that learn these tools and start building applications. They don't have to learn a development language, and you don't have to get IT involved. So let's go into the Power Platform in a little bit more detail. It's made up essentially of four elements, let's call them. There's Power Apps, which is the main tool for building apps for your mobile device or tablet that can also run on a desktop. And the advantage of course, having an app is you can take advantage of features like camera and GPS on your phone if they're going to come in useful. And of course, you can just quickly run the app wherever you are on your mobile. There is also Power Automate. For those of you who've been around a little bit longer, this is what used to be called Microsoft Flow. And that is essentially a workflow tool, so you can connect up different bits of an application and meld them together, integrate with other tools, and so provide a more connected, holistic experience. There's also Power BI, which is a little platform for writing very attractive visual reports on your data, interactive reports. And there is Power Virtual Agents, which is a fairly new addition to it. And that is a tool for building chatbots. I'm sure you've all interacted with chatbots before and know how they can be useful. So if we look at some examples then, what can you actually do with the Power Platform that serves an endeavor to improve your employee experience? Well, one thing we built recently was a little mobile app for expenses. Obviously, we are, like many organizations, we go and see our clients, we have expenses, and our staff have always said life would be a lot easier if they can complete their expenses whilst they're on the train home from a customer visit, for example. And that's an ideal use case for doing in an app, which is what we built, because then you can use the camera to take photos of your receipts, put them all in, and it's done, ready for processing before you even get back to the office or back home. Very useful. Another use for Power Apps would be to build a nice, simple onboarding application. That can just be, obviously the onboarding process for new employees is very different in every organisation. That's why you kind of have to customise it. But they're all going to take you through some steps, policies to read, things employees need to know, systems they need to sign up to. You might want to put in a step where they're informed of various social groups, special interest groups around your organisation that they might be interested in joining, and builds up that community feel. Very useful. In fact, one of the best things to do with both SharePoint, whether you use Power Platform or not, is to create communities and forums around these special interest groups. Like you might have running groups, they can use a calendar to set up communal runs, or you might have a chess club, those kinds of things. Another use for Power Platform, something that's very good for employees, is you can build a little window onto your HR system so people can always access useful information such as how many holidays they're entitled to, how many they've got left, when they're booked for, training that's available or training they've taken, updates on their pension, that kind of HR. You can build a little portal to surface that to your employees very easily. Another very useful thing is it's very much about hybrid working at the moment, and that's something the Power Platform can be used for very usefully. That's something Georgia will talk about shortly. So I'll leave off of that and I'll move on to Viva. So now the Power Platform definitely has potential to create lots of great things for employee experience, but the tools, they do require some learning and reasonable investment of effort. If, however, you're already using Microsoft 365, there are quicker wins. In fact, earlier this year, Microsoft launched Viva, which is their first employee experience platform. And they launched that in response to the changing working world and the call for a better experience for employees. Now, Viva, what is it? Well, there are 4 aspects to it. It's concerned with communications, knowledge and learning, resources and insights. And more specifically, it endeavours to integrate those into the context and flow of your normal work, and it presents them through Microsoft Teams, so it's all in a familiar tool that's used by your employees every day, or hopefully every day. Okay, I'll hand over to Ali now, and she'll explain a little bit more about these different aspects of Viva.
Great, thanks, Salvo. So let's start with learning. Did you know that 94% of employees say they would stay longer in a company if that organisation invested in their individual learning and career development? Well, Viva Learning is a centralised learning hub in Microsoft Teams that lets you integrate learning and building skills into your day. With the Viva Learning Hub, employees can easily discover training courses and micro-learning content pulled from Microsoft Learn, LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and others. In Viva Learning, your team can share and recommend content, and the manager functionality allows team leaders and senior staff to assign learning and track outcomes as well. Next up is insights. 30% of workers reported an increased burnout throughout the pandemic. Insights provides data-driven, privacy-protected insights and recommendations to improve productivity and well-being. Insights aims to counteract this increased level of burnout by assigning focus time, protecting innovation periods, providing virtual commutes, headspace check-ins, and forefronting progress data to prevent that burnout from happening. The personal insights and actions in the Viva Insights app are based on your Exchange Online mailbox data, such as email and calendar data. The insights are derived from data that is already available to you in your online Exchange mailbox. For example, if you want to determine what commitments you've made to others, you could check through every email, but the Insights app saves you time by doing this for you. Next, we have Viva Topics. This helps to address a key business issue in many companies, providing information to users when they need it. For example, new employees need to learn a lot of new information quickly and encounter terms they don't recognize when reading through company information. To learn more, the user might need to spend valuable time searching for details such as information about what the term is, who in the organization is an expert on this subject, and maybe sites and documents that are related to the term. Viva Topics is a sort of level up of virtual agents, providing access to company experts and quick or common explanations in the form of topic cards. Microsoft estimates that the average worker spends 7 weeks per year searching for or recreating company information. They say to think of Topics as the company Wikipedia. Using AI, Topics creates information cards which can appear in SharePoint or Teams hubs with key information, key people, and training specific to that page. Finally, we have Viva Connections. Since the start of the pandemic, nearly 60% of workers report feeling less connected to their team and their company. As we know from the start of this webinar, that can negatively affect working performance, effort rates, and employee retention. Connections solves this by combining functionalities of SharePoint and Yammer. Connections provides a curated homepage to access internal news, company events, groups and clubs, and bringing some fun and informal functions to your internal communications.
So far we've discussed the general concept of employee experience and human-focused strategies on how to enact it. These included no meetings Fridays, wellness content, wellness days, and a buddy system. Following this, we took a tech dive into how you can optimize your current usage of Teams and SharePoint, including full integrations and feature roadmaps. We spoke about how you can use Power Platform to create employee experience and engagement apps, like we've done here with our expenses app. And then we briefly looked at Microsoft's first employee experience platform, Viva, and its various functionalities. Having said this, there are certain practicalities in hybrid experience that Viva has not accounted for. That's where we've come in and started to develop some SharePoint functions to answer everyday queries. A couple examples of this are our hybrid selector and flexi timer. The hybrid selector works as a remote locator that employees can opt in and out of. It uses a simple and user-friendly interface to show when and if people are in the office and can be broken down by job function, employee's team, or by day. It can also be shown as an interactive map with pinpoints if your company is working globally. Similar to this is the flexi timer. We know that people's routines at home are different to their routines in the office. With the flexi timer, you can clock in and out, show that you're completing your tasks or hours, while still working during times that suit you. These are just 2 examples of our new World of Work package, but if you'd like to hear more or have a specific functionality in mind, please do get in touch to find out more.
Great, thanks for joining everyone. We hope this has given you some useful insights into how you can improve your employees' experience. If you have any questions or want to get in touch with us, you can contact us by email, and our email addresses are on the slide below. We also have an upcoming webinar on how to transform your web strategy for 2022. This will be on the 8th of December, so do sign up if that's something you would be interested in hearing more about. Thanks everyone, have a great day.